is up, everybody? This is Steam coming at you live. We're back with Beyond the Cot, the F3 Knoxville podcast. And it has been a hot minute. It has probably been, over a year, I would say, maybe give or take a year, since a new episode has dropped from this podcast. I have to blame for that. So I have fallen off the wagon a little bit with this, and there's a really cool story that we're going to dive into today on why this is coming back, how it's coming back, and also some of the really cool things that we are going to be doing on this podcast and with F3 Knoxville this year in 2022. So what I'd like to do first is kind of talk a little bit about catch up. So, as I'm catching everyone up on, hey, what went down? So if you have listened to this podcast before, if you've not listened to this podcast before, welcome. Glad you're here. My name is Steam. I am part of F3 Knoxville, obviously. And a little bit of a background. So started this podcast a couple years ago. With the intent to connect the men of F3 Knoxville outside of their normal workout locations, which is what we call AOs, or areas of operations. So I had a lot of really awesome interviews, awesome conversations with guys around F3 Knoxville. And then if you have lived under a rock, you've probably missed it, but COVID got really bad and the world kind of took a turn, and everyone had their own experience with COVID. Maybe it's job stuff, it's family stuff, whatever that is for you. We're fighting and struggling with different things. But, I kind of put this on the back burner with the intent of, hey, I'm going to pick it back up someday because I love doing this and people seem to really like this. And that back burner got pushed back and back and back. And so to catch everyone up on that, welcome back. There is a really cool story about how I kind of wrestled with this for a long time, thinking, how do I pick this back up? It's been so long. People are probably like, this is not good anymore, and you're probably right. But there is a guy that I'm going to introduce. Actually, I'm going to let him introduce himself in a second, that has said, hey, here I am, send me. I want to pick up the flag and run with it. That's good,
send me. Ooh, I'm glad you said that.
That's right. So my our incredible guest today, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, kind of share a little bit about how we're even having this conversation right now, and kind of what to expect, and we'll dive into some of that here in a few minutes.
Sure. My name is Davis Bodie, 34, Blindside. And I found the F3. I started posting a year ago, March 1st, 2021, 6 months after learning about F3, so that's a pretty long layover there. But and no one really EH'd me. It was a combination of seeing friends on Facebook and the social medias and posts, and I think it was a February beatdown where I think it started snowing at 5:20, and I was already following the socials, and the guys were all out there, guys I didn't even know, and I was like, okay, this is for real. I think I'm going to join. So it still was a couple weeks after that. But I'm also a big podcast guy. I was talking with Steam this evening because we got a little PM good stuff, Asylum Ruck in tonight. Oh, yeah. I love podcasts. I probably am subscribed to, 20, 25 that I listen to regularly. And, I was kind of just searching one day, and I saw the F3 Nation podcasts were being promoted on the Nation newsletter. And so I was like, let me just type in F3 Knoxville, see if there's anything. And I guess this was probably early last summer, so a couple months in. I found the F3 Knoxville feed and gobbled up all those episodes pretty quickly. And then got to know Steam through, actually, you know what? I don't think we'd ever worked out together when I hit you up on Slack. I don't think. And so we met probably late August. Last year. We met for dinner and talked about each other and get to know each other. And since then, we've worked out several times. But we talked about the podcast and growing it. And I know that you had Steam, you had some ideas about relaunching it in 2022. And I was all for it. And then we both just stopped. We both stopped stopped really talking for a little bit. I think we shared Google Docs back and forth for about a week. We were excited. And then it kind of just trailed off. And I'd see you at an Asylum workout one on a Saturday, or a Shamrock one, or we would just, oh hey, yeah, we got to talk about this and we got to figure this out. And this whole time I was just like planning in my head and trying to think about what I thought the vision could be. And really, it was the F3 Nation podcast that kind of is the genesis of what I want F3 Knoxville to be. Now, those guys do 6 podcasts a week, usually between 30 minutes and an hour. And it's probably, 12 different guys. Some of the guys are on one show, some of them are on 2, and they do. If you haven't listened to those, absolutely give them a listen. They do a Q Source every week. They do Stuff Worth Trying. They do, one guy, Bones, does Health Tip of the Week. I think he's a doctor. And really just listening to those over the past few months really got me going, and wanted to actually reinvigorate our conversations to get this going. So, Steve, do you want to talk a little bit about when we met on Zoom, or what was that, 2 weeks ago when I was presenting my grand plan and how that went about?
Yeah. So just to put this in perspective too, all last year, like probably more November, December, more seriously, thinking like, oh, okay, cool, 2022, new year, we're gonna relaunch this podcast. It's gonna be awesome. And then, like Blindside said, we'd get pumped, and then, a week later, like, oh yeah, we gotta do this. We gotta actually do this.
We gotta either record or come up with a plan, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah. So I had a few notes, very, very humble notes, and so we got on the Zoom call, and then Blindside basically opens up the Library of Congress of notes and has everything planned out, like crazy good organization, and so going into our Zoom call, our conversation, I was like, this will be cool. I'm excited to hear what his vision is for it, and
I think you spoiled it a little bit. You said, I'm thinking like a good once, maybe twice a month, maybe 15-minute podcast. That'd be great. And I saw that message knowing that we were going to meet later that day, going, oh gosh, this is almost literally the opposite of what I was thinking. So kind of walk through what you saw when we opened that shared document.
Yeah. So I see like a cadence of, okay, twice a week we're doing this, 3 times a week we're doing this, like 3 times a month we're doing this, and I think I aged like 10 years just thinking about
watching your face drop on that Zoom call was incredible, and I think you recorded it, so I'm gonna have to get that at some point. So.
That's right. Well, so it wasn't just a bad thing too, and I think the really special thing with this is this is bittersweet for me too, because I love starting this, and like we say in F3, like I'm not a professional. Like, I mean, no, I'm just not. I don't have a master's in podcast recording ED. Like, I just thought this was a cool idea. I thought this could help guys in F3 Knoxville and maybe other places in the world too. It's like, okay, cool. Like, so someone's got to do it, right? So, I'll just play around with it and see what I can do. And then Blindside comes in and has a plan, has like an executed plan, and is like ridiculously organized. And
definitely over-planned and probably over-committed myself, because if anybody out there that knows me and my story, I've got no time to do this, but it's something that I'm absolutely called to do, and I really think that it's going to help me grow while helping others, connect through F3 Knoxville as well.
Yeah, and that's the whole mission of this. Well, I mean, F3 Knoxville too. Like this was never my podcast, right? Like I feel like this was something cool. Like God was like, hey, man, you should look into this, do it, and so that's kind of how this launched. And so and in F3 we do a change of leadership, every couple of years, depending on if you're leading a area of operations, if you're leading our region as well. And so what happens with that is there's a passing of the flag. Which kind of comes from the military. When military leaders change, there's a change of the guard, passing of the flag, and so just to put it in brutal honesty, I was running with the flag and tripped, fell down, and then kind of stayed down for almost a year, right? And specifically with this thing, and so. So just hearing Blindside talk through that conversation, I think what I did not go into the conversation thinking, oh, thank God I get to hand this off. Thinking like, oh, cool, we're going to have a good plan. This is going to be awesome. But I think halfway through that conversation, I feel like the Lord really gave me this is something that he's really passionate about, something that you're really gifted in, something that I think God has blessed you in.
Well, we'll see about the gifted part. The organization, the organization of it, I definitely can do. It's executing that. We're gonna try. We're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah. We're gonna throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know during that conversation that we had, it was really kind of funny. And I pointed it out near the end that we were dancing around each other. Where
that's right.
I think you realized that you were going to need to pass it on for it to be substantial or to be what you ultimately would want it to be, but you couldn't do.
Yes.
And I did not want to steal your baby from you. And we were dancing around each other. You were really wanting to tell me to take it over, and I really wasn't trying to tell you to let me take it over. So, and to be perfectly honest, taking it over was really just changing an email address on the account.
Literally.
Yeah. And so, I think, Steve, I still want you involved in anything. I'm going to lay out my plan, I think, for how this is going to go here in a minute. But, whatever you feel like you want to contribute, whether it's co-hosting, any of the plans, and I kind of went through what my plan is with you. I think there's plenty of opportunities for you to join in on any of these things. But also, the way that I want to structure the podcast feed is very similar to the Nation podcast feed, where it's, separate shows within the same feed. So you don't have to subscribe to 3 or 4 different podcasts. And then maybe having a Steam Corner, once a month, or, a little 5-minute drop here every now and again with what's on your heart. Because I think that you have a lot still to offer to not only F3 Knoxville, but, the F3 Nation as well as the podcast here. So I really think, this is not going to be buy from Steam, never hear him on this feed again. No, I'm going to pull him in, whether it's, guys that I'm looking for that he might know a little better, or like I said, anything that he wants to contribute. And the good thing about podcasts is you can sit and record, and I can sit and record, and we don't even have to be in the same city.
That's right.
That's right. And we can even plug it into the feed, wherever and whenever. So, and that's something that I'll get into in a second, but, not just me and Steam. It's going to be, I want F3 Knoxville to really kind of take this over.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was a really sweet moment when we both realized that. It's like, all right, let's just call this for what it is. Like,
call a spade here and say what we want to do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so setting off to start this and do this, I think anything we're given, it's easy for us to take ownership of and take credit for. It's like, oh, well, look what I did. Man, I did this. Look what I have created. And that's just not true. Man, it's look what I have been given to steward. And then if it eventually pass off to someone else. So real quick, in F3 we talk about this idea of plant, grow, serve. Can you plant something? Can you grow that thing? Can you serve that thing? And I heard this leadership model from a pastor here in Knoxville named Rick Dunn, and thought it was really cool, and it kind of ties into plant, grow, serve, which is I've kind of taken as my personal leadership thing from F3 Knoxville, kind of how I like to be intentional with people. And basically what Rick talks about when he talks about his leadership model is if he can plant something, grow something, serve something, and then step away from it and let other leaders run it. That is leadership. And so when I heard Rick talking about that a couple of years ago on a podcast that he was in called Life Reframed with Lauren Morgan, I was like, man, that's really cool, really cool. And I think there's something sweet in that too, because that helps us realize, hey, this thing that I'm doing, it's not really mine. I'm just stewarding it, right? And I'm just trying to steward it as best as I can. And so that's been really sweet for me. And so to have a brother, an F3, come and say, hey, I would love to join you in this. I'd love to take this and literally make it 1,000 times better.
No, we'll see about that.
Is just incredible. So this has been awesome for me and just get to, for us really to learn from each other. So, do you want to go into kind of what this is going to look like the next time we drop an episode, and then the rest of the year too?
So while Steam was that heartfelt message, I was actually EHing a guy. So I don't feel too bad being on my phone during that, and I was still listening. Guys, hopefully we'll be at the dog pound tomorrow. We'll see. He didn't show up this morning, but
call him out. Got to call him
right? out. We'll see what his F3 name is. I hope it's something good now. Guys were expecting him this morning at Equalizer, and he didn't show. So he just
morning after.
Right?
That's
so
the name.
I think he's a no-show might be a good one too.
Oh, that's good.
No call, no show. Anyway, I won't be there in the morning, so I'm hoping that they do well with him. But anyway, talking about what my plan is for this podcast, it's to start not small, because the size of Steam's eyeballs when he saw my start off plan told me that it was a bit ambitious, but
this is awesome.
Yeah. So, and one of the reasons why I felt, with my limited time, having, 5 children, 2 jobs, and a million responsibilities, is that I kept coming back to it and thinking about it. From our first meeting in August to, the fall and us not talking too much, but I was still thinking about this. And I was listening to the F3 Nation podcast every week and really wanting to see what F3 Knoxville could do, because, I'm just, I'm in my 12th month. So March 1st will be my, F3 anniversary, if you will. And I'm sure many of you know, have fallen head first in love with F3 and everything that it's about. Sure. I can't go a week without posting about it on social media, trying to EH as many guys as possible. The guy that I was just mentioning, I posted on my HOA's Facebook page last night, and he jumped to it. And didn't show this morning, like I said, but hopefully he'll be out tomorrow. But, I have a passion for what this group is. And, that could go back to my love of shared history and connectiveness and brotherhood. I was in a small fraternity in college, and, when they talk about F3, you have your college buddies, which are buddies of proximity because they're close to you during college, and then you grow up and get out of college, and who are your friends. I didn't go to school in Knoxville while I was born and raised. I'm still not too close with most of the people from my high school, but the one thing that I got out of F3 was the second F, the fellowship, and it really is what keeps me going, because I could do all these workouts by myself now, maybe I would do it, maybe I wouldn't, but it's the fellowship that I've gotten in the past 11 and a half months that has really brought out my passion. So what I'm looking at doing is 3 shows a week, 1 main show and 2 smaller little smaller shows that are about 6 to 10 minutes. The main show could be anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour, depending on what we're doing. And just to kind of go through what they are, it's all going to be under the F3 Knoxville umbrella. The Mondays will be Beyond the Cot, very similar to what this show is now, or has been, where it's kind of talking about F3 Knoxville, talking about hymns in the area. I want to get interviews in, so I want to structure it by week. And again, I'm hoping that this plan works out where I want to do AO of the month. So my plan with AO of the month is choosing an AO, going and working out there myself, because I've only been to probably half the AOs in Knoxville. Working out there, kind of giving a kind of breakdown, when, where, who, what's it like, kind of the first week of the month. And then the third week of the month, I want to interview the AOQ. I want to cue a workout at that AO, and really kind of get to know it and spread it out to others in F3 Knoxville, because I'm not able to get out to all the AOs during the week, especially during school time, whether it's getting the kids to school or getting myself to school. So really want to take this opportunity to almost make myself do it. Make myself cue other places, make myself go to other workouts. And then in weeks 2 and 4, week 2 kind of looking more at interviewing hymns, F3 Knoxville leadership, calling you guys out now, kind of talking to some of those bright stars in the F3 Knoxville community, those that do travel around and all you guys know and love, just trying to get their story. I'll promise Steam here I won't repeat some of his guests, because I feel like the interviews that you did with some of those guys like Crawdad and Junk and some of those guys are just they're top notch. So I'm not going to try to redo those, but get to know some of the guys around Knoxville, some of the leadership, and really with that kind of break down what the leadership of F3 Knoxville looks like. I know it took me a while to know what a weasel shaker was. So maybe we can go into that. And then week 4, kind of looking at an F3 theme, whether that's, bringing in somebody else, not necessarily an interview, but a conversation, or looking at F3 guys from Morristown, Chattanooga, North Georgia, Columbia, Tennessee just launched a couple months ago. Nice. And then maybe some of the national leadership. I'm really all about that. I've posted downrange just twice, and that was in Hilton Head last summer. And, going somewhere downrange, being nervous as all get out, but knowing that it's the same group of guys, same things that they do that we do. And then, so that's the Monday show. And then Wednesdays will be picking up the 6, and that's going to be 6 terms, 3 from the lexicon, 3 from the exicon, trying to explain a little bit about them. I'm going to start very basic, probably first show, Merkin, Big Boy, Q, one of my favorites, a Cotter, which doesn't get used a lot, but those are guys that have been gone for, I think, there's not a specific time, but I think some of the Nation guys said at least 2 months. And that goes back to that old 70s TV show that John Travolta was in called Welcome Back, Cotter. So you're welcoming those guys back. And then with the exicons, so the exercises, what I want to do is a routine. So I think the first show is going to involve 21s. And so explaining that routine a little bit. So hopefully with picking up the 6, whether it's new guys or guys that are looking for ideas for cues, can come here and kind of listen to it and hear a description. And of course, everything is going to be from the Exicon and Lexicon website. Something I have bookmarked on my computer because I have horrible writer's block when it comes to planning cues. So that's the Wednesday show. And then Friday, I'm calling it Mumble Chatter. Some of the guys at the Equalizer inadvertently came up with that name last week when our Mumble Chatter last week, which was just incredible. It was exactly what you would expect it to be. It's not to be repeated on the podcast, obviously, but Mumble Chatter is going to be not what's said in the gloom, but really, kind of an update in between the Judge Judy newsletters. So what's going on? Are there VQs going on? Are there special cues going on? I think back to when Lily Dipper and High Heels and the one in January, Charmin, where they had the triple birthday cue, stuff like that. Kind of announce those things. That don't get into the newsletter. Not saying that Judge Judy doesn't do a great job. I love reading that every month, but some of those things that are maybe not newsletter once a month worthy, something that's planned maybe a couple days before. I don't plan on recording those until Wednesday nights before they drop on Fridays, so it can be as most up to date as possible. But CSOPs, rucking events, different things that that's going on where just get the word out a little bit more. So that would be the Mumble Chatter on Fridays. And then moving forward from there, I don't have any plans on doing any other shows beside that, but that's where I was kind of throwing this on Steam as we're recording. Anything that he's good at recording himself. I mean, I've seen his setup. We're sitting here in his kitchen right now. It's much better than the iPhone that I'm going to record some of this stuff on. But drops that he has, working out, rucking with him, he's got incredible insight, incredible devotions in his heart that he can share, and whenever he wants to share something, we're going to drop it. And I really think that we can grow this to where it's not just me. I think that would be the ultimate goal, because I'm not going to be just a radio voice out here in your car on your way to work. I think that this is something that all of F3 Knoxville can get involved in one way or another. I want this to grow. If we end up doing 6 shows a week, and I am part of one, if someone wants to hop in and co-host the main show with me, I mean, it's as easy as hopping on a Zoom call for 40 minutes and both hitting record.
That's right.
I've been podcasting with some college buddies off and on for the last 2 years, and that's just what we do. It's just an excuse for us to see each other, and we just hit the record button. Yeah. Not many are posted, so don't go looking for them. But it's good just to have that Mumble Chatter time and get some things out and really share our thoughts and words with the PAX of F3 Knoxville. Yeah,
and I would say if you are coming back to listen to this, maybe you're not a part of F3 yet, or you're not in F3. Some of the things that we just said, you're probably like, what the heck does that even freaking mean?
That's what picking up the 6 is for.
I don't even know what kind of language this is. So, one, we're not a cult. We get that question a lot. We're not a cult.
Cultish.
Cultish. Meet in the dark, have our own language, nicknames, all that good stuff. Not a cult. But a lot of the language that we use in F3 will be fleshed out, which will be cool. So I'm really excited for this. I think it's great. I am really just happy that Blindside is taking the flag and running with it, and is going to make it so much better, which is awesome. And so this is, of F3 for F3, which is really cool, really cool. So,
well, awesome. So thank you, Steam. We'll I look forward to getting all the trade secrets from you over the next couple weeks as I plan on recording. I think that the first main show will drop, I think, on February 28th. Cool. Y'all hold me to this, okay? Because I've got it planned out. I just got to record it. So I'm hoping to keep that 3-day-a-week schedule. And those Wednesday and Friday shows are short. So pray for me as I do this. Pray for my family and my sanity. Pray for all brothers in the gloom. As I like to say when I end Circle of Trust, is all prayer, all intentions spoken and unspoken. So,
oh, that's good.
Yep.
Cool. So go forth, conquer the weak. Iron sharpens iron.
All right. Thanks for listening to this digital Shovelflag handoff episode of Beyond the Cot, an F3 Knoxville podcast. To kind of go over what we talked about, I'm planning on dropping 3 episodes a week, 3 distinct different shows that highlight the different aspects of F3 Knoxville. These shows will be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Monday show will be the main Beyond the Cot. This will have him interviews. It will have AO of the month updates and much more F3 info. Wednesdays will be a show that I'm calling Picking Up the 6, which will look at 6 terms used by F3 hymns in the gloom. And then Fridays will be Mumble Chatter. A look at the going on of F3 Knoxville, from BQs to CSOPs, from 2nd F events to service projects and rucking events. If you have an idea for the podcast or would like to co-host with me, or even have an idea for your own show within this feed, reach out to me on Slack or on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @F3_Blindside. I'm excited to be taking on the challenge of the F3 Knoxville podcast, and I look forward to continuing to grow in my fitness, fellowship, and faith journey with my brothers in the gloom. Once again, this is Davis Bodie, 34, Blindside.